Greetings. Welcome to Elevating Empowering Conversations, hosted by I Declare the Word, a media platform created to inspire, encourage, and motivate the lives of others. I will tell you a little about Elevating Empowering Conversations after I introduce our guest that we will have this evening, which is Kiara Ross, who will be joining us. I just want her to say hello.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for joining in. So I will bring you right back. Our focus is to encourage, empower, and educate people to see life situations and multiple viewpoints and be open minded. We will have conversations about life journeys and life lessons. Now, this month, we will be celebrating Women's Month, and we want to celebrate the young women. And I am excited to be able to have Kiara just to share her personal journey. And because March is Women's History Month, a celebration of women's contributions to impacting lives, history, and culture. This day has been observed annually in March in the United States since 1987. So we want to celebrate and honor a young lady who represent our future. And also we want to celebrate all the women out there who have made different contributions. So now I'm going to bring Kiara back on. Okay, Kiara. So I am so excited and so thankful that you decided to join in this evening. And so first, what I would like for you to do is to tell us about your journey. What do you do? Tell us a little bit about your journey and the struggles. We're going to talk about the struggles first, the lesson learned, and where you are at now.
Okay. So I am a public defender with Prince William County in Northern Virginia. I represent clients who are declared indigent, basically people who can't afford an attorney and have been charged with criminal charges. Basically, something that can put them in jail for at least a year or more. And so, because of that, I am a person who represents people who is facing jail time, but doesn't have the means to find or pay for an attorney. So, just trying to help out the community.
Okay, so what made you decide to go into a profession of becoming a public is a public defender?
Yes.
Yes. So what made you decide to do that?
So I've always cared a little bit more about helping the community. It's really the reason why I became an attorney. I really wanted to help out my community, be able to give back wherever I can. I wanted to kind of stop injustices where I could, fight for people who just can't afford, legal services. There's a lot of people out there who just can't afford an attorney. Even people who do have jobs or making a good amount of money still can't afford an attorney, and it's really unfair that that happens. And sometimes it just means that they don't get adequate representation when they go in front of a judge, but they're expected to know how the law works, and it just ends up being something that becomes very unjust. So I just am was always interested in representing people who just couldn't afford representation.
And see, that makes a big difference because you are so correct. Far as attorney fees, just a consultation or something. Oh, that's your little baby in the back, little puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes a big difference. And I think you really have to have a heart to want to do what you're doing. far as being able to, be somebody else's advocate. So just tell us a little bit about the journey. What challenges did you have to face at the beginning?
Oh, there's so many challenges. There's taking the bar exam, there's getting through law school. There's tons of exams that you have to pass in order to become an attorney, to get into law school, to leave law school. There's a lot that is encompassed with becoming an attorney. You have to do 4 years of undergrad. You have to do another 3 years of professional school, which is
Mm-hmm.
law school. um, and some of the challenges that I faced are basically taking the bar exam. I took two bar exams, one in Virginia, one in North Carolina. They are months long, where you have to study for several months at a time. The bar exam is in the two states that I took it in are 2-day exams, all day exams for
Oh my
hours.
goodness.
um yeah, it's a very, very grueling exam, and it's very difficult. There's a lot of emotional struggles that you go through when trying to
Mm-hmm.
study for the bar exam. It can be very, very difficult. There's just a lot that you have to learn and squeeze into your brain
Mm-hmm.
into for like 2 months, and then kind of just write it all out in 2 days. And so that's one of the struggles that I face trying to become an attorney, is taking those bar exams, and also finding a job. It's
Mm-hmm.
difficult, even for attorneys. It's very difficult to find a job, even especially a good job. Coming out of law school, they do not pay you. They
Mm-hmm.
do not necessarily pay you, immediately, like this wonderful salary. I think that's sometimes a misconception that, coming out of law school, you're in a better footing. But I think it's kind of the same across the board. Whether you came out of law school or came out of high school, it's difficult finding work.
So that is a great point that you brought up. I think people may not realize, they think that once you get the bar exam, that it's probably easy to just be able to find a job in the area that you want to go into. But it sounds like it probably takes time to get
Mhm.
yourself, acquainted with the system and the law, and get yourself known, as far as what you're doing, especially what you're doing. So I still commend you, because that takes a lot of courage and discipline and passion for what you're doing. And so what would you say is some of the lessons that you learned through this all?
Some of the lessons I would definitely say is not to give up, is to keep
Mm-hmm.
pushing forward. There are going to be so many times where you're going to feel really down. You're going to feel like giving up because it's hard. Nothing worth having comes easy. So it's definitely something that you have to keep striving for. You have to keep pushing yourself forward, even when you feel like, there's nothing else you can do, or you've done all that you can do. It's one of the lessons, is that you definitely have to keep pushing forward and keep pushing yourself, and make sure, I always would pray and pray and pray. And I would try to, just give myself some type of motivation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the only person that's going to motivate you is you. And you got to do that sometimes for yourself. So that's definitely one of the biggest lessons. You got to push forward.
And I think that's a good lesson to learn, because that can apply to so many different things, and you had to push. And I'm quite sure it wasn't easy. And just let us know, as women, that, we're going to have challenges that we face, but we need to just continue on. And once we get through that pressing and pushing, then the end result, then like with you, you're happy that you went through, that you got through that process, because look where you're at now. And so, with that being said, how long have you been an attorney? How long has it been?
So I graduated law school in 2017. I
Mhm,
passed the bar that same year in North Carolina. I started practicing there for a little while. I moved back up to the Virginia area, waved into DC, practiced a little bit in DC, and then in about 2021, or 2022, the beginning of last year, I studied for the Virginia bar, and passed that bar, and started practicing here. So in total, I've been practicing
mhm.
roughly around 6 years.
Okay, that's good. So now, do you have a like a dual, how did I say it? Where you can practice in North Carolina and Virginia, or is it now just in Virginia?
So, for in order to continue to be able to practice there, I have to keep my licenses active.
Mhm,
I all three of my licenses are currently active. I pay my bar dues for both DC and North Carolina, where my job helps pay for the bar dues that I have for Virginia. But I do have my licenses all active, so I can practice in each one of the states. But currently, I'm only practicing in Virginia.
well, that's good to know that you have the option. I think that's really, I mean, that's great. I celebrate you representing, like I said, our future. And I think this is something that can motivate, the younger women that, it's not easy, the things that you may want to pursue, but don't give up. Just keep at it. And, once you get through it, like I said, look at you. I'm so proud of you. I'm very proud of you because I remember when you was little, and just to see somebody, aspiring like you, a public defender, that's great because that means you're an advocate and you representing, the ones who can't represent themselves. And I just think that's great. And so, what goals do you have for in the future? Where you at now? Oh, you kind of mentioned it now you practicing in Virginia. So do you have any big plans in the future?
I don't know if I would say big plans, but my goals moving forward is one is to become even better at what I do now, get more, versed in the law, get better
Hmm.
at the statutes, get better at the Constitution, and being able to practice. I just want to kind of hone my skills in regards to practicing law, get better at that and become a better attorney for my clients, for
Hmm.
myself, to better represent my community. And I also want to really interested in working with juveniles. Eventually, I will move to that part of my in my position. I'll eventually move down to working with juveniles as well,
Hmm.
which is going to be something that is going to be a struggle, because it's a little bit more emotional than the type of work that I'm doing now.
Hmm.
In working, but I really am passionate about working with juveniles, and so it's going to be a goal of mine to make sure that I am the best possible attorney that I can be, and especially when representing children. I want to make sure that I am able to represent them adequately, and in a way that best suits their needs. So those are going to be my goals moving forward. Is just making sure that I am becoming a better attorney every single day.
I think that's great because I think the children, the teenagers, juveniles, I think it's needed. And to be able to know that someone has the passion, because like I said earlier, you have to have a passion for that. I think that's great. Now, seeing that you work in the northern area, let's say if somebody needed a public defender in the immediate Tri-City area, are you able to recommend them to someone, or how does that work?
So generally, with the public defenders, you have to be appointed by the court. So
Hmm.
there's a short application. It's about a one-page application that you will do. So if a person is charged with a crime that could result in jail time, they would do an application asking for the court to appoint them a public defender or a court-appointed attorney. in which case the court at that time will determine whether or not that person is eligible. You have to meet a certain financial threshold in order to be able to be eligible to be appointed counsel. Unfortunately,
Okay.
that threshold is so low that very, very few people in the community actually meet it. And it's very
Wow.
unfortunate because
Hmm.
it does kind of overlook a lot of people who still cannot afford an attorney. But however, it still does give us plenty of work. But yeah, so generally a person would have to apply to the court in
Hmm.
order to do so. However, um, given that I know I have a lot of colleagues from law school, a lot
Hmm.
of colleagues that I've worked with throughout, throughout my time as an attorney. Depending on the area, I can probably refer them to somebody that does private practice in whatever area that they're looking for, or I could refer them to at least some way to try to find an attorney um, that would be helpful for them.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's something good to know. I really thank you for sharing and telling us a little bit. You educated me in reference to about a public defender. I learned a lot by listening to you, and I appreciate you taking the time out. And so, I just want to say to the audience, this just represents the younger version of the women, the younger people, so I'm proud to say that I know her, and I think that she's going to do wonderful things. And Kiara, if you want to, before we end, could you give some words of encouragement?
Of course. Always follow your heart and what you want to do. Don't let people tell you that you can't do something or try to discourage you from doing it because it might be too
Mhm.
hard. If it's something that you want to do, then you're probably going to do it. If you put your mind to it, you probably can succeed. And you will succeed. And all you have to do is just have that motivation within yourself, that determination, and always work hard. Don't take the easy road, even though
Mhm.
it looks like it's the best road to take. Sometimes working means working hard and getting to where you want to be in life. Whatever your dream is, or whatever it is that you want to do, and that's your life goal. Make sure that you always follow through, and that you don't let anybody discourage you and take you away from what you want to do in life.
All right. I thank you so much. It was a joy for you to join us this evening, and I will talk to you soon. But thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
All right. You take care.
You too.
All right. I thank everyone for tuning in and having the opportunity for us to share this evening. I celebrate all the women out there for Women History Month. I think everyone has had the opportunity to be impactful, contribute, and do certain things. So we celebrate all the achievements, all the things that you're doing, and I just want to say that I'm about to end right now. So, with that being said, I hope everybody has a good evening. And if you want to get in contact, with me or with Kiara, you can actually email me, and I'll just leave it in the remarks as far as how you can get in contact with me. So, I hope everybody has a great evening. Good night.